it. Okay, ready?
1, 2, go.
Welcome to the Anthropocene, the geological age in which we live today. Scientists say this age started during the Industrial Revolution. The Anthropocene is characterized by human exploitation of Earth's resources, in turn causing much of current problems with climate change and mass extinction.
In the sixth extinction, Elizabeth Kolbert uses 13 case studies to help readers understand today's mass extinction and how this event is wholly different from those of the past. Previous extinction events have been caused mostly by natural catastrophes and changes in Earth's atmosphere, but today's extinction event is being caused by humans' unique ability to disrupt natural processes.
So a quick differentiation, background extinction is the natural rate at which we lose species on Earth, which usually looks like 5 species per year, whether that be plant or animal. Mass extinction, what we've seen in the past 5 times, is we've lost over or upwards of half of the biodiversity on Earth, and that is currently what we are experiencing in our 6th mass extinction.
Kolbert's case studies arise from many different causes of extinction to help readers differentiate between the past and today. Previous extinction events have been set off almost overnight because of changes to the atmosphere from volcanoes and meteorites throwing dust into the air, or from photosynthesis dramatically reducing the greenhouse effect. Now we see species disappearing from preventable causes such as deforestation and overhunting.
One quote Kolbert mentions in her book is, "Time is the essential ingredient, but in the modern world there is no time," by Rachel Carson. Throughout Kolbert's book, she reiterates the work of activist Rachel Carson, author of Silent Spring. Carson's work and views align with Kolbert's, such that our world is under great environmental threat, and if we don't realize this matters soon enough, time will be up and it'll soon be too late. In the chapter 11, Kolbert explains of her encounter with one of the last Sumatran rhinos, Suki, at the Cincinnati zoos. Sumatran rhinos were hunted to severe endangerment for their horns until small numbers are left, and in the last 15 years, only 2 captive females have reproduced. This is one example that time is of the essence, solutions may cause more problems, and how chances of extinctions are left in the hands of humans once again.
Currently, there is a trend of being more environmentally conscious. This can be seen with reusable straws, elephant ella, etc. However, how effective is this really? A statistic out of 2015 from The Guardian said that 90 companies produce 2/3 of human-made greenhouse gas emissions. So really, what we can be doing as an individual can be reaching out to these bigger companies and trying to impact their pollution to best affect our climate.
One thing that I wish was explained more thoroughly was the degree to which different human actions are causing extinctions. The acronym HIPPO is often used to identify the biggest extinction-causing factors: habitat loss, invasive species, human population, pollution, and overexploitation. Without the direct causes of extinction explained, it feels like all future extinctions are unavoidable, and it makes the issue seem even more depressing than it is.
I felt that most of Kolbert's case studies were discussed from a preservationist point of view, enforcing exploitation of the environment. She talked mostly about how human impact is a threat on the earth, and if humans never exploited species, we would not be closer to the 6th extinction. However, if she would have mentioned her case studies from a conservationist point of view, we would have understood a more realistic relationship between human impact and extinction, and how humans are also the victims of their own threat.
I think that writing in a more conservation-based way may have made the book more effective in that it might have made people care more about what is happening, and it could have been more of a call to action. It's sad to think that in 100 years we probably won't have any Sumatran tigers, but it's really frightening to think that by then we may also have lost species that pollinate our food, clean our water, or even maybe one that has an enzyme that could have been developed to cure Alzheimer's.
This is not to say that Kolbert's work wasn't effective. Her personal stories and first-hand accounts are really something that made the book quite special. She also wrote in a very intellectual manner, which as a reader is quite nice. She also included a lot of different things that were casual and yet serious, so adding a little bit of comedy in her writing. Additionally, I liked hearing from a female perspective in the science field.
Colbert's 13 case studies are not the only examples of consequences of the Anthropocene. To prove that human impact is still a major threat on habitat loss and the endangerment of species, we all have our own stories of current threats. Mine, the vaquita, is a porpoise that lives off the coast of the Gulf of California. And because of increased amounts of illegal poaching by fishermen, the vaquitas are drowning in fishing nets at alarming rates. Like the Sumatran rhinosuke and the great auk from the Funk Island, the vaquita is just another example of a species we're losing. According to the World Wildlife Fund, there are less than 30 vaquitas left in the world, in the wild, and their habitat is quickly shrinking. Humans have one of the greatest impacts on the livelihood of other species and environments. Ending poaching may be a start, and this is a strong issue Colbert argues in her book.
Another place being threatened by extinction is Venezuela's Pico Humboldt Glacier. It is their last glacier, and it is their last form of tropical ice in the country. Scientists say it'll take about 2 decades for the glacier to be totally gone. Currently, it measures at about 3 football fields, and it used to be, after the last mini ice age, 230 square miles. As you can see over on the right, this is 2011 compared to 1950s of the glacier. So this is really interesting to look at kind of an alpine ecosystem, especially here in Colorado. I think Colbert would have had a lot to say about this ecosystem going extinct, as well as all the plants on the lower level of the mountain migrating upwards. I do wish that Colbert would have explained a little bit more about the inclusion of social chaos and how that affects environmental movements, because it's hard to focus on the environment when you can't find water.
The direct effects of mass extinction may affect you sooner than you think. It's not just rare exotic species that could be lost. For example, banana plantations throughout the world are being devastated by a new strain of a disease that is taking out the most widely cultivated bananas in the world. Now, engineers will have to genetically modify the banana to make sure that this popular fruit isn't lost. The banana and the bat are both facing their demise because of a fungus otherwise imperceptible to humans without their devastating impacts. The Fusarian wilt TR4 disease hitting bananas now is likely to cause $10 billion annually going forward. Moving up the food chain with one of Colbert's examples, if all bats were lost in the future, with white nose syndrome, up to 98% of crops will be affected by insect predation.
We all know that the Anthropocene is here, but what are we going to do to combat it? How can we rewind, or can we? Reusable straws and hydro flasks are steps to saving the earth, but they will not be the driving force to the end of endangerment and the Anthropocene. If we want to work towards a better, safer world, we need to educate ourselves and educate others, just like Colbert did with her story of the 6th extinction.
This extinction event is going to change human life dramatically. A double whammy will hurt crops as certain pests grow and eat up fields already suffering from loss of pollinators. Difficulties in the medical field may arise as the species that could have been used for research disappear, and diseases like Lyme's are becoming more dangerous as species that don't provide preventative benefits fill in the niches of lost or declining species.
In the words of Colbert, the 6th extinction will continue to determine the course of life, long after everything people have written and painted and built has been ground into dust, and giant rats have or have not inherited the earth. This is the Anthropocene.